By listening to the following, you are acknowledging that the comments, opinions, and analyses expressed by MEMECOINS LLC, its representatives, or any other contributor are for informational purposes only and should not be considered individual investment or legal advice or recommendations to make an investment or adopt any investment strategy. You should be aware of the real risk of loss when buying and selling any assets, including but not limited to NFTs, tokens, or securities. Always conduct your own research and strongly consider seeking the advice of a financial or legal expert. And now, here's Crypto Chris G with TopeTalk.
Well. That was quite amazing. Thank you so much, CryptoMedic, as always. And my, we actually on a break now. My AI girlfriend, so we're technically ex-girlfriend currently. Boys, single Chris, no longer dating an AI robot that announces me in Twitter space. I moved on. I'm gonna find better things in my life here. Lucky me. So what's going on, guys? Welcome to TopeTalk. We are on episode 64. I can't believe it. It's one more than last week. What an accomplishment! And it's been a great ride so far, and we're just getting started. Marketing hasn't even started. The dev is based. What else we got here? Dex tools trending soon, stuff like that. That's basically the same thing here now. So what's going on, guys? Thanks everyone for being here. Let's get down the line, get some introductions out the door. CryptoMedic, we'll start with you, man. How you doing?
What's up, my brother from another mother, my sisters from other misters. So happy to be here. Cooking in the sun in Arizona still. I know some of you out there starting to roll into the fall. Leaves are changing, starting to get chilly at night. It's still 108 here, but it's all right. We're getting ready to go swimming. It ain't end of the fall here until like December, so glad to be here.
It's the same in Florida, man. It's never going to be cold down here. Probably never again. Global warming. It's next year the halving when Bitcoin halves. We're probably never going to see winners here again. But yeah, thanks for that. Let's go on. Actually, we'll do Walker last here. Let's go to Enzo. What's going on, Enzo?
Yo, how's it going, man? I am enjoying a little bit of rain here in Uruguay. We don't get much of that around here. We're usually in a drought for some reason. So it's been nice that it's been raining the past 2 days, and now people are calling the government saying that they're all flooded. So yeah, we can't decide. Either we're in a drought or we're in a flood. This country needs to get its stuff together, man. I don't know what's going on here, but yeah, you turn on the news and it's a flood or a drought every day. Nobody knows. There's no in between.
Yikes. Sounds scary, man. Might want to be like that guy, hold a sign outside and just let people know with a piece of cardboard and some black Sharpie markers which one it is, so that everyone is on the same page. But yeah, joining us today also, we got Michael from the MEMECOIN space. He's been involved with a couple different projects, and yeah, Mikey, thanks for being here, bro.
Yeah, thanks for having me, man. Yeah, got 2 projects I'm working on. So right now, Lick and Mighty Burn. But yeah, happy to be here on the panel and look forward to chatting with you guys.
For sure. We'll definitely dive in a little bit into what's going on with those and what we're seeing in the market and stuff like that. We also have NFT Hoarder joining us in the crowd. If he wants to come up whenever, he's more than welcome to. But I got some bagels on the way from him from pretty sure it's Philadelphia. Pretty sure that's what it is. Don't kill me if I'm wrong. I'll go recheck my order. I just know they're somewhere north. That's all that matters. So, but yeah, let's without further ado, we also have Walker. Walker's going to drop down some market analysis for us, and then I'll break into the current news of the market. But what's going on, Walker? Thanks for being here. Oh, Walker is requesting to come back up. So while we wait for Walker, we did have NFT Hoarder join us. What's going on, man? Thanks for joining us today. I hope we didn't break into a busy day for you here.
No, appreciate it. I keep myself busy, so no. But you're right. It's the bagels are from Philadelphia.
I was right. That's perfect. Yeah, man. I'm excited to see them when they get here. I got 2 different type of cream cheeses. I got the original plain and then a sriracha, something sriracha. I don't remember exactly which one it was, but it looked good.
Yeah, no, I hope you enjoyed them, and they I've been tracking them. So unfortunately, UPS, Web3 doesn't prevent UPS from delaying things. So looks like it'll be there tomorrow.
Okay, yeah, no worries. I'll still eat them if they're soggy. If they're in the container for too long, we'll make do. But yeah, so Walker, we heard you when you came back up. Are you connected now? We got these guys in Alabama. I'm not sure why Jordan let Walker go back to Alabama. But yeah, so he bought a house out there. Now he's got no Wi-Fi. It's his way to get out of doing work. It's pretty known. But just to say hi to some other people in the crowd. We got the Nara Father in here. Good to see you, man. Thanks for joining us today. We got Crypto Empress. She's stalking me as always. Just kidding, girl. Always good to see you. Thanks for stopping in. Feel free to come say hi. Love to hear what you got going on. We got the captain in here as well as Mr. Render from our director of rendering. Yeah, no, he's where the magic happens in our business here in Metatope. So happy to have him hanging out with us. And then we also have our CEO and founder, Jordan, and our co-founder, Walker, wants to come back up. We'll see if this is maybe the charm for some market analysis here. Maybe he connected to the trees this time. He's up in a tree, cell phone in the air, trying to get some signal.
I guess you guys can hear me now. And just so you know, Chris, you're bagging on my Wi-Fi, but my megabytes of download speed almost tripled on my move to Alabama. Okay, we got the fiber in the ground, so don't be hating on it quite yet. Yeah, but market rundown is pretty calm this week. But
let's say hi first, Walker. Ladies and gentlemen, Walker.
Hello.
Hold on, we got something before this. Where is it?
It's so great. It's so great to be here. And really the biggest news that I saw this week really is coming from like the tone of the Federal Reserve. And what we're seeing in the data now is that a lot of the government agencies are starting to produce reports where they're saying, hey, look, we think that interest rates are at a sufficient level, but the Federal Reserve is still like, hey, higher for longer. We may have another rate hike. But the theory is that we're very close to the top of this rate hiking cycle. We may have already reached the peak. Maybe there's one more. Maybe there's two. But I highly doubt there's two, right? We're talking about another quarter basis point raise. And I think what the Federal Reserve is trying to do is they're trying to prevent an inflationary environment. Because if they come out and they say, hey, guys, we're done. This is the top. Everybody's going to go, all in on risk assets because, that's how they do it. So, right now, what's really interesting, and I'm not a bond guy, but when you look at the 20 and the 30-year Treasury bonds, you can lock in, a 5.5% return while also looking for a premium down the line, as those rates come down. But overall, starting to feel, more positivity. Now, the reports we're also looking at the lagging indicators, right, of the market. And what was really interesting is they theorized that over 75 to 85% of all of the economic lags have already worked their way through the system. And they think that's because markets are much more forward-looking now than they've really probably ever been, at least 18 months ahead. And so, now the Federal Reserve is trying to tone people down, but looking positive. So I would expect to see the economy start to continuously start to trend up. We're already almost testing the highs of the SPX that we recently set. But the last lagging indicator that we've got to watch, and it's estimated that roughly only 45% of it has worked its way through the system, is the labor market. And as rates stay higher for longer, the businesses really feel it. Those businesses flow down to the wages, and then people stop, purchasing as much. But and that can take a long time to work its way through. But moving forward, looking at Bitcoin, we saw a big run up last week, big sell off, getting a little positive action as the S&P 500 ramped up, but still trading within this range. And last week I told you I took a long. I held it down to the bottom of the range, and it held. But I actually closed my position today at a loss. It's like $5. But really, kind of in no man's land right now. We've got to see what happens. We covered the news last week on the ETF. It seems very likely, statistically, that we're going to see that spot ETF. And if we do, not financial advice, but I think a $50,000 plus Bitcoin pre-halving is likely.
Interesting. I was just reading an article where someone was saying from Phil, I'm not even sure who Phil is, but they said 46K by the halving. So interesting stuff there. So thanks for that, Walker. Talking about the industry. If you ever want to go more in detail, definitely DM Walker about that kind of stuff. If you're familiar with half of what he just said. Yeah, so going into more of like what some more regular crypto Web3 stuff in the space right now. We've got some stuff going on today. One of the last things that happened was they were talking about who was involved with the stake hack of $41 million, and it turns out to be a North Korean group called the Lazarus Group. And I feel like we've heard the Lazarus Group before on a couple different things. I'm not quite sure who also, I'm trying to see if there was anything where they talked about the Lazarus Group in the past. But anyway, so that's the thing. Someone came out as what they did or how, who did it. And I'm curious to see what they did regarding stake side of things. Obviously, they shut down and suspended the withdrawals and the deposits until they had everything back in order. But I'm sure that's definitely a dent in their pocket. So it'll be good to see where they take away some cybersecurity type of lessons from this. Other stuff in the news here, unless anybody has any extra information on that, we have a new publicly traded Korean firm, NeoWiz, is going to start building games on the Avalanche network. They'll be calling it, their Web3 arm is going to be called IntelliX. And that's it's pretty bullish considering that they are a huge, in Korea, they have a huge appetite for like esports and blockchain. So with having like a large fan base, mixing that with gaming cultures, they should have some high consumer interest, especially since they do have a 25-year track record. I don't even think I've ever played any of the games that I read about, but they did about 50 million in revenue last year. So yeah, as they start to generate some more branch, that Web3 branch that could produce a lot more liquidity, especially on that Asian market that the US here doesn't really have a grasp on yet. So other news regarding the market or the space, we have the former FTX executive pleads guilty to criminal charges. So that's Ryan Salami. I like to call him Salami. I don't even know which one's correct. But he does plan to plead guilty to multiple criminal charges regarding this case of FTX. So getting closer to getting some light on that. The next article wasn't worth reading. And then it looks like how he was talking about the ETF stuff. There was another one, VanEck. ARC filings officially start the clock for ETFs for Ether. And that was started yesterday. So super excited to see some more ETF news and stuff moving in motion versus just be hearsay or here, there, or, whatever the case is. But it'll be nice as more of this presses forward, then, we should at some point start to see this, see some more adoption or see some light shed onto our space that we all truly believe in, because we are literally the ones still here. I mean, this space used to have 250 plus people in it. We are down to the guys that are left, bored out of their minds, just want to hear each other talk. That's us, in case you didn't know who I was talking about, including myself. But yeah, so let's jump into the fun stuff now that we got through the news, man. Let's run over to Hoarder, man. So obviously, Hoarder, you've been in this space for a hot minute. You've been collecting. I see that you obviously have some at Yuga, and then I saw you have your OCM, which love the OCM network. The community there is so strong, and I've had a chance to meet the founders in person a few times now, and just I think Amanda and the team and all them are awesome people. So just curious regarding like some of this other stuff that you're involved hat on. Are you doing stuff on the computer still?
Hey, sorry, I just rolled a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I think, for me, it's about IP. So, I started my journey 2+ years ago, kind of flipping NFTs, and, as the market, became bear, a lot of people want to do stuff with IP, and, was fortunate to be in a position to kind of unlock that for people. And, with a hospitality group in Philadelphia, we have products that we serve every day. And, given my kind of backgrounds in CPG and e-commerce, just leverage that to commercialize some of the products, to build some of the brands like Board Bagels, and we're launching cookies with Board Snack Cookies, and Board Spice with spice blends and hot sauces. We have a canned alcoholic cocktail, Board and Tipsy. So really kind of leveraging the Basie IP, and creating products and opportunities for people.
That's awesome. So what would be your favorite out of the entire hospitality offerings that you would say is like where you like, you think is going to be the biggest hit?
Yeah, I mean, I think bagels has been the one we started a little over a year ago, our kind of pilot. And it just seems to resonate with a lot of people. I think good bagel, even like across the country. Since I'm in the tri-state and I'm in New York, there's lots of bagel shops, but it doesn't seem present across many different states. So I think that's just been a really good product that kind of just resonates, and people seem to really enjoy. And the other ones are newer, right? I think, the Fuck It weekends really allowed us to speed up kind of the cookies. We wanted to launch a snack brand, and as we did research, we stumbled upon Crumbles, and just kind of like taken back by how successful their business model was. And if you think about, we have bagel shops, so cookies kind of just plugs right in with the same type of equipment and our ability to serve coffee and things of that nature with the cookies themselves. I think the cookies one will become kind of a huge opportunity for us. An average Crumble store does $1.68 million, and they have over 300 of them across the country.
Wow, that's sick, bro. So when coin? When can I get revenue share? When can I do all the stuff that we're not supposed to be doing?
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. The coin would be great if we weren't based in the U.S. And we've talked about it, off chain. But I think for us, probably the next move is, continue to build brands and products. But we are looking at just a super small NFT collection, in which we'd unlock IP royalties back to the holders of that. And we're looking at some brick and mortar, concepts. So taking the brands that we've kind of innovated with NFT IP, and then kind of in reverse, bring that in real life as a branded storefront. So, what we've been looking at is a Board Bagels and Cookies kind of merged concept, which we're very kind of optimistic, yet conservative in what that storefront could do.
Yeah, it makes sense, man. You obviously want to keep yourself out of prison, so might as well take it nice and slow.
Yeah. I mean, I think there's lots of possibilities, and I'm surprised that there's just not as many, even token gated discounts for e-commerce. It's just surprising that it's not as prevalent right now. But I think we'll start to see much more of that come about as kind of we go into a meta that's kind of driven by made by apes and some IP plays that I think some projects are leading the way with.
Yeah, for sure. That's sick. Yeah, it'd be cool, like in the future when there's a little bit more clarification to see, like, obviously Starbucks was one of the first to create like a rewards collectible, but in order to, like, I think it'd be interesting to see somebody or a business that has like, maybe it's a larger establishment that has like multiple locations across the world or country, and where they just like, join, almost like when you go shopping for clothes at Express and they want you to sign up for a credit card and you get all these points or get a discount, like maybe the same thing, and like a portion of the sale goes to like a coin, and basically they get like they start building rewards by receiving tokens, and obviously like you need a place like it with a lot of revenue that coming in to generate like obviously buybacks and then disbursement to rewards. But yeah, I think there's so much use cases like you said that are yet to be explored, and sometimes it's just getting prepared, and when it's a little bit more clear, being able to be one of the first movers would be probably crazy. But no, man, I appreciate you shedding some light on what you got going on. Does anybody have any questions regarding what he's got, regarding IP? Obviously, it sounds like you focus more on like the physical representation of your IP versus digital, right?
Yeah, I mean, we are layering some digital aspects. So, we produced an animation. You can see board bagels, that account. It's pinned up at the top. It was just something fun we did with kind of the early IP, supporters. Also with our physical products, the bagels is you get a card with a QR, kind of a thank you card, and that takes you to a Instagram mini game. So that one has bagels kind of falling down from the sky, and you have to kind of eat them and avoid the burnt toast. And if you eat the burnt toast, you have 3 lives, and you kind of lose your lives, and you get a score. And that was one method in which we kind of gamified the ability to give out some IP spots to the community for people that participate there. And same thing with our board and tipsy is a canned cocktail that we produced. That one has a QR code on the physical product, and that will also take you to an Instagram mini game, which is a beer pong, and it's got my mutant in it. And I think we want to continue to kind of layer on a digital experience on top of the physical one, and something kind of a little bit more unique in which we're doing that I think people can have some fun with.
Yeah, and you talk about eating burnt toast with 3 lives. I mean, basically me IRL, man. If I eat burnt toast, I think I'm gonna die, like literally. So, thanks for joining us, bro. Any like Crypto Medic, got anything you want to talk about there, or is there any questions for anybody else, or we can jump over to Mike?
Yeah, no, I'd just like to jump over to Mike. Yeah, I think that's great. I mean, I'm a bagel eater, so I'll be hitting you.
Well, before we jump over, I do have a question. So, with you having, and I'm going to assume, you've got a successful bagel company. Like, what is the advantage to you as a brick and mortar business owner, like to represent, your bagel brand with the face being a Bored Ape?
Yeah, no, good question. And I think to kind of double down on that, I have partners in my real life hospitality group that are not in Web3, are not into NFTs, right? So it's been a little bit of a journey, kind of proving it out to them and showing the use case. I think what I found in the journey is there's just such a niche community here that's so supportive. And it's within even just the basic community, there's lots of kind of exposure we've gotten and help we've gotten from the community and how to explore the technology and the animation we did. So there's just certain aspects in which we've produced, whether digital content or the game, which we would have never done or explored in real life, right? So I think it allows us to propagate a consumer brand that now has an ape that's recognizable, but at the same time, it doesn't stop people from buying our product in real life. And that's kind of what we found, right? It's they might not know anything about it, but even if they do, it's not going to stop them from purchasing. And we see a future in which, like the Made by Apes program and the community kind of coming together to maybe unlock some e-commerce tools. And if you have an ape, you get a discount. If you pay for bagels or something else, maybe you get an additional discount on top or something of that nature, right? So I think there's just a couple of different components in which it's the community support, it's the technology. We've got lots of different concepts that I think Chris, you were mentioning before, like we would even ourselves love to kind of consolidate a rewards loyalty program across them, and that's where NFTs and could serve that purpose, and what we've been looking at and some solutions there. So I think we're early. I think we're able to lean forward with it, not disrupting our in real life business. And there's even some funding and opportunities that we wouldn't have got, right? We have people kind of some eyeballs on it from connections we've made, and had some conversations with Costco and Kroger and these guys around the board bagels brand and not the in real life brand. So I think it's, to your point, like there's a parallel path, but we see it kind of tapping into a market that's different than our in real life brand.
Dude, I love that. Thank you so much for sharing. You're definitely early, and congratulations for that. You're a trailblazer, and I think it's really difficult right now, for a lot of people, especially in this market, the last year, to kind of like see that future and to understand, not only how do I integrate this, with an IRL brand, but what are the benefits of it? And I think that's such a powerful story for you to continue to propagate and to help others in the industry. So thank you for sharing.
Yeah, no, appreciate that in the question. And, it's a journey for us too, as we discover. And, I think we're going to share some things coming up, but, outside of this from Fuck It Weekend, I think we also had just a ton of great conversations with a lot of people building around IP or in general, even for the basic community. Like, it's quite surprising that we don't have this resource that we can tap into people's in real life skills or businesses. When we went down there, we were fortunate to connect with a restaurant that's ape owned, like 3 days prior to the event. And, we shipped them bagels to unlock Uber delivery of board bagels breakfast sandwiches. Right. So, I think things like that would have really never happened outside this community, and having this kind of connection to someone else in the community, because like someone I've never talked to, and in one kind of reach out in an hour later, like we solidified a collaboration and was able to do that.
That's awesome. Yeah. And it's going to be cool to see, like you said, some of these bigger brands that you've now have communications with at some level have come into, light because of this Web3 style of the branding. And yeah, I mean, like, it would be interesting to see as the years turn and this market comes back towards NFTs in the near future here. Like, that's it. I mean, like, this next cycle, I think, is going to be absolutely crazy for the NFT market. And this type of like building, you're not starting from scratch. You're not like trying to do like what half of them are going to do again, which is like, oh yeah, I'm going to launch a bagel company. And yeah, we're going to, this NFT collection is going to get this, that, and that. We'll send you bagels, right? But it's like you're an actual company built out versus that. And I think the average NFT consumer is not going to fall for the BS in this next one versus what we saw last time, because a lot of false promises were.
This space was downloaded via spacesdown.com. Visit to download your spaces today.
Were crafted and people were very, they had good. I would say most had good intentions, but we just didn't have the skills. They didn't have any Web 2 skills to tap into. They didn't have anything that that they thought would just be probably fall into place. And unfortunately, a lot of those companies are, let's say projects. The projects have disappeared and the companies have emerged. So, with speaking of companies emerging here, we also have Mr. Mikey on the stage. Mikey's been from I've known Mikey for a hot minute in Telegram, and the Shitcoins are fun group, and he's been a part of a project called Lick for a while, which let him discuss a little bit about that. And then as of yesterday, is now part of the Muddy Burn, and I think a few of us in here own some Muddy Burn token. And based on, you're a slow grinder, bro. It's a nice steady grind. I can go to sleep, I can wake up and know that like the Muddy team is still going to be striving and stuff like that. So as long as that continues, I'm a Muddy burner. But yeah, what's going on, Mikey?
Yeah, good, man. Yeah, thanks again for having me up on the panel. Yeah, I'll go into like Lick a little bit, PetLFG Lick, talk about that, and then move over to the other project that we launched, Muddy Burn, and kind of explain why we did that and what's going on with it. But yeah, slow grinder is a way to put it. Definitely, we're not a fly by night operation. Launched PetLFG Lick actually May 24th, a little bit after all the the hot meme craze that was out there. And we've been working, diligently to like build utility behind this project. So it's a multi-chain project, which a lot of people probably aren't used to, like seeing a project that is as low market cap as ours be on 7 EVM compatible blockchains, not just Ethereum. And a big reason why we decided to go that route is because during a bull run, it's very common to see the Ethereum GUI go up insanely high. I'm talking like, 5, 6, 100, 1,000, which makes, the option to purchase or get involved in, a project almost impossible unless you have like tens of thousands of dollars at your disposal with like gas fees and failed transactions and all that fun stuff. So we launched this project to put it on, multiple blockchains because we want to make sure that it's always accessible to not just to people that actually don't have a lot of money, but to different communities like Phantom, Arbitrum, Polygon. Recently, we're on even Base Chain. And with these additional blockchains come different dApps that we're developing utilities for, which is pretty damn awesome. But then we're also on that main one that has the most liquidity, Ethereum. So we're doing an NFT collection. We've actually utility behind NFTs because a lot of people launch NFT collections just for the art and there's nothing backing them that you can use them for. But we're going a different route where we're building out utility for the NFTs before actually putting them out there. So there's a lot of things that are happening with PetLFG Lick. It has a lot of different utilities like lending, betting. Like I said, NFTs. We're working on a Web3 racing game that's currently in development. We can use the NFT to actually do basically a car racing game similar to Mario Kart, which is going to be pretty awesome. And then we have some other stuff that's all listed out on our roadmap for like charity donations. We basically donate a proportion of the royalties from the NFT to like animal shelters and hospitals, mostly in the Chicago area, and like IRL, like in real life activities. We're actually having one tonight in Chicago that we're hosting, part of the ETH Chicago event. Anyone in Chicago has been to those, are pretty cool, large community here for that. But we're going to be expanding utility of the NFTs for people in Chicago to actually come to these events where you have to have an NFT to do so. So that's a little bit of a basically an explanation of what's going on with PetLFG. It's not something that's like going to go up 1,000x tomorrow or something that we really even concern us with too much of the price, because we're building something for not just this upcoming bull run, but we want it to last to the next bull run. And when you build something out, you have to build it with longevity, not just, okay, is it going to last a month or a week or something like that? You got to build it so that it can last long term. So pretty solid community there, folks that know about it. We're kind of just holding and waiting. And yeah, like you said, like to sleep easy on it. And the next project that you mentioned, Money Burn, was launched literally yesterday. We launched that project actually in basically relation to like what happened at Burning Man, where people were basically, I think it was something like 3 weeks or 4 months worth of rain in like a 24-hour period, which created quite a muddy disaster out there at the Burning Man festival. And so we launched a meme token in relation to that, Muddy Burn. Currently, we don't have any mention of utility for this particular token. It is this meme token, but it's something that it's also going to have like a long-term plan for it, with getting it, on different sites for like CoinMarketCap, CoinGecko, and see about getting it on an exchange. But it's something actually that people can feel comfortable with. It's not like if it goes up to 100K and down to like 1K and then back to 5K, we're going to abandon the project. We're more long-term thinking. We believe actually that good projects take a while to grow and gain traction. And if you just throw money at things to like over market it, usually there's a burnout period. So it was something we wanted to launch too, because there's so many shit projects out there that launch that are either scams, honeypots, rug pulls, undoxed devs. It probably has 1,000 projects run at the same time or delete the Telegram. And I felt like it would be nice to give our community the option to get in early in something that was backed by us, that they could feel comfortable getting in at any point and knowing that it's not going to go anywhere anytime soon. So that's pretty much it on the two. So I don't know if you guys have any questions about them, but yeah, overall crypto outlook, I think that we're kind of hovering around, like people said, that 25K range. I'm not entirely sure if we're going to go up or down, but the market sentiment, you guys can see that a lot of people are actually consolidating into like stable coins. So as you can tell, many meme coin projects are suffering. I mean, a lot of things are dropping down to decent lows, but I mean, that's just the market right now. But as things start to go back up, I think closer to 30K, when I'm talking about Bitcoin, I think that a lot of things are going to take off rather well. Now, there are some that are doing pretty good out there right now, but it's a kind of a short list and difficult to find. So projects like this that I put out with my partner and other ones that are out there that have decent backing and utility and a trusted team, I think they're going to do good, if not great, long term. So anyway, that's pretty much all I had. But yeah, and you guys have any questions at all about what I mentioned?
I do.
Anyone
I do.
Go ahead, Walter.
So my question is like, to you, it's, a leader of a project and really like a leader of a community. Like, what is kind of, your take and your strategy in these types of markets to really keep, them involved and optimistic about the future?
Yeah, so this is not my first project that I ran. I ran another project back in 2020, a few projects back in 2021. One did fairly well, and it went through a similar cycle where it launches, there's all this hype and excitement, runs up, and then there's that period where people are like, okay, now what? I need to be fed something to get engaged. And because a lot of people want to, 10, 20, 100x in a matter of days. But in business, most businesses in real life do not do that. Most businesses are not even profitable for a year or two in reality. And I run several businesses in real life myself, and I've experienced that these situations where people are making 10, 20, 30x, it's not reality. Most of the time, it's more of a rarity for it to actually happen. It does happen, but it's a lot of high risk to it. So I do my best to explain that to community members that, hey, this can possibly run up 100x, 1,000x if we keep at it with engagement, community building. But it's not something that we're just going to just like market, because there's always going to be this run up peak, as people have seen in many projects, and then there's a fast drop down because eventually, if it's not timed right, which happens a lot of times, you just simply run out of marketing money. And they said that's what kills any business. Cash is the lifeblood of any business. And if you don't time it right based on the current market, what's happening, then that will kill a project. And that's something that I do my best to make the community members that are involved in my projects aware of. Like they were like, "Hey, what's happening?" It's like, "Whoa, everything's fine. I'm still here. We're making our updates. We're working on things. We're hosting spaces, going on VC with them, or just send them this, or sometimes just a simple photo of a merch, like a coffee mug or a T-shirt, just to let them know that we're still here, grinding, working on stuff, talking with people about things that are not just about the project too, like engaging. So I think big thing to do for like leaders in the space is just to engage with community members when they can, and not feed into like some members' desire to say when the price is going to go up. When are we going to have 100x? I bought yesterday. Why am I not rich? I mean, you get that so often. I mean, I would say probably every other day I get several messages that people want to know, okay, when should I buy and when should I sell? And that's just very common that for people that have access to the founder or the dev of the project, which can, in some instances, seem pretty rare. But I would just say, like, if you do run something and you do engage with your community, just be real with them. Just tell them that, hey, this is something that we're building. It's legit. And things take time. I mean, if Bitcoin goes to damn 10,000 market cap, everything in the space is going to be affected by it. It doesn't matter what you do, So if it has a big tie to crypto, which most of these projects do, it's going to take a hit. It's going to like reduce in value unless your project completely independent of the crypto markets. So just making people aware that, I mean, some people will get involved in your project, and they'll also Bitcoin, like for example, drop down to 15K, and they will have no idea why the project is being affected or going down at all. And because it might be possible that this project that they're in is the only one or the first cryptocurrency that they're invested in. And it's just explaining to them like, how things work. And but yeah, it's always a little bit of a struggle because you're trying not to give investment advice, but at the same time trying to tell people to please do your research, actually read the website, check the roadmap, and look at this actually as something that is not going to like, go to 1,000x tomorrow because you just joined today. But I hope that like kind of answers the question there. Kind of a little bit long-winded than that.
No, I think you did a great job, man. And I think that the key takeaway there is, show your community that you're a long term partner, right? You're there to be their friend along this journey, and don't buy into the noise. And I really like the way that you explained it. Talking about businesses and talking about the money, being the lifeline. And I think a great analogy is it's a very synonymous in some ways to trading, right? You're building a hypothesis, you're looking at the market indicators, and at some point you're going to see enough that you say, hey, I want to take a position on this. But if you don't have your stop losses set properly and your market timing is off, you can completely lose your funding, right? And I think that's where it comes in. And in this space, you have to be so on point with your risk management because it is so volatile. And I think that's why we see so much attrition in these companies.
No, absolutely. Yeah. And the people don't understand just how volatile, some of these projects are. Like I'll give you Pedalogy, for example. Then we launched, the project ran up to something around 500K market cap, which is unfortunately considered pretty high in these markets where a lot of things will make it past 10K. But anyway, it ran up to that. And then within a matter of days, it was sitting down around a 30K market cap. And seeing that is just basically solidifying that there's still a lot of fear in the space where people will jump into something and immediately get out of it because they feel like they need to chase something else that has just launched and don't want to wait for something to actually get built or done, or believe that the people behind the project are going to stay with the project. And I can see their pain because 95 to 90 ish, I think 90% of the projects that launch out there are unfortunately rugs, honeypots, or scams, and you could just see them. It's actually pretty sad. because like it takes work. It takes a lot of damn work to actually build something legitimate. I mean, especially if you want to put your name behind it or your face behind it, if you're docs, it could take, you can actually personally put more money out of your own pocket into something than you would make out of it probably for years. I mean, especially if you're going to do your own self-funding of the LP, if you're not going to do some overhyped, overpromised bullshit pre-sale, where you're going to say you're going to build X, Y, and Z, and then get all this pre-sale money to do that. And a lot of people don't understand, don't go into pre-sales, but if you make something like $500,000 or $1 million as an undoxed dev during a pre-sale to build something, and you're not going to get any more money until that thing, until maybe that thing is built, what incentive does a dev or a founder that's not doxed to their community have to actually build something? You know, 100%. And that's why they're rugs. That's why most pre-sales turn out to be rugs, because they've already been paid. It's going to cost them money to actually do any work or do anything, you know? So, and then they'll just go launch another damn pre-sale. They say they're going to build everything and it's going to make everyone rich. And that's going to happen over and over and over again. But people going into the space don't understand it. They might have a friend or someone that might have got lucky with one out of probably, 500. And they just keep chasing that dream that, oh, I can get involved in this. I can pay to do this pre-sale. I can make a lot of money. It's just not the case. And so it's just talking to people about the reality of it, explaining it. And I've been in this space for a while, since like 2015. Been through a couple bull runs. I was actually, my background is not exactly crypto. I was a IT security consultant in Chicago for a while, working with law firms in the area, but due to them getting hacked because they didn't have the proper backups, using old tape drop systems, they had to pay ransoms in Bitcoin. And that was my exposure back in 2015. Became a GPU miner just simply because I was tired of going to the currency exchange to buy Bitcoin, and I wanted to acquire it myself, and went down this wild rabbit hole where I started, one GPU miner to something close to like 200 GPU miners, and it was something close to like $5,000 to $6,000 a month in electricity costs. And you learn a lot, how things work with different algorithms, cryptocurrencies, and communities. And then you get into this weird world of DeFi where it's not about mining, it's just about like you can create this thing and you can play this game of like people, like dealing with people and what their expectations are, and then make this essentially at its core, this cryptocurrency that is worth nothing, and hype it up to be worth something without really any plan of making it actually worth something. And it's explaining to people that's how most of it works. And unfortunately in the space, and let them know that it's ideal if you get involved in a project, not even my damn project, but any project. It's not as much about like, is everything look good with the holders? Everything look good with like the contract? Everything look good with the wallet distribution? Because all this shit can be faked. You have 500 or 1,000 holders on a project. That could be one person that funded those wallets from a bunch of different exchange accounts they're not even tied. You won't see that shit on any bubble map at all. And so people that come out and say, oh, the bubble map looks clean and the holder account distribution looks really good. There is no damn idea if that's a legit project or not. And then you see like, oh, everything's great, but the dev is on docs and their profile is the same image as a Telegram group, but this looks like a great project. I mean, what the fuck are you talking about? It doesn't make any sense. And so you see that stuff, and I try to like sometimes explain to them like, yeah, you can go out there and invest in other projects because this is something that's more legit and is moving fast on, but just be careful, because when you go hop into something that has certain red flags, like if it looks too good, basically I say it looks too good to be true, it might be too good to be true. And it's just explaining that. And I sometimes I even see, sometimes it's sad, I'll see sometimes people will sell like a large bag of our project to go hop into another thing, and everything's blockchain, you can see it, and then you see them go into something else and they get rubbed. And I tell my community members, like, I am never going to sell shame anyone. If you want to sell at any point ever, totally feel free to. And I hope whatever you go into does well, but just be careful, because there's a lot of shit out there. And if you're going to hop into something, just take the time, if possible, to get to know the person that's behind it, because I think in crypto a lot, I know we want to believe in like a trustless environment and it's everything's centralized, but someone is driving most of these projects. Someone has intentions to create this, and it's always good to know what the hell their intentions are and what they plan on doing, and if there are any repercussions to their action, like if they're actually, you can actually figure out who they are, stuff like that. But it's just yeah, like I said, it's just a conversation and being real with people is what I think more people just, need to have in the space. And I think that will make, crypto progress more. And like all this shady shit that you see out there with all these, supposed hacks that happen where they're just like, oh, this is a hack, but was it insider, or we're just doing this to get media coverage because, we need, it's an attention economy. Like I can say, oh, well, this project got hacked for like $1 million and it's all over the news, but then we happen to get it all back, or 80% of it back, was was that reality? Was that really happen or did it not? So anyway, it's a dangerous world out there, but it's just try to know the people that are behind things, and it's likely to be better, overall.
Yeah. 100%, bro. I mean, that was a good take. That's why I wasn't going to interrupt you. And yeah, you hit on a lot of good points about why those things are important. I think a lot of people that sometimes on docks have bad intentions in the long run, but there's others that just happen to live in areas that they don't want docks and put themselves in a position, or so there happens to be like a little bit of good, but for the most part, you're right. It's definitely not a good thing in the long term. But I think Enzo has a question for you.
Hey, not really a question, just more to touch on something that you said. Uh, one of the big positives and negatives about this space, the Web3 space right now, is that anybody can come and invest, and that's great because anybody can, kind of make it. But also, some of those people that come into the space and invest in coins have zero patience. They've never invested in anything in their life. So it's hard for them to buy something, see the price go up, then see the price go down, and still like hold while the project builds. So, like, we need to not only teach people to do their own research, but we also have to somehow find a way to teach people to have a bit of patience, because people in this space have absolutely no patience for anything. So we need to figure out a way to teach people that coming into the space that you're not going to get rich overnight. It doesn't happen to everybody. Some people get lucky, and it happens because they bought right before the big green candles, and it happens. But most people don't get that lucky, and we have to find a way to teach people that patience in this space is key. To hold through the bear market, to then see all the green candles, and that's something people don't understand.
Well, patience is a virtue all throughout life, Enzo. But I think you're hitting on a really important point, and this is something that I try to help people with. I think the first thing that you have to do is you really have to talk with somebody and work through their expectations with them, right? If there's somebody coming in, and we can also do this, on a mass scale, but I think a lot of times the industry doesn't want that, right? Because what perpetuates, the masses, we'll call it, just newbies, to continue to come into these markets and take all of this risk? What's these insane gains? Right? So that's the story that's told over and over again. So that's what people coming looking for is that 100x, right? And here's the reality. So they have unreasonable, almost impossible, right, expectations, especially if you're talking about like statistically for people to achieve this, on a reasonable basis. That's the first problem. So if we can help manage that, and then number two, which is just as important, is people actually having a thesis. And Michael hit on it, Enzo, you hit on it. And the reason people don't have patience, the reason people don't stick around is because they don't know why the fuck they're there in the first place. They came into the project, right? So like I ask people, they're like, oh, well, I want to get into crypto. Why? Oh, well, I want to make money. Well, what if you don't make money? Right? So now you're just going to put yourself in a position where you have no long-term outlook or any reason to be in this market. And what's going to happen is you're going to lose money and get shaken out very quickly. And that's true for any investment, right? That's not just crypto, but I really think, managing expectations and challenging people to deliver a thesis that carries them into a long-term outlook of this market creates a much, much more sustainable environment for new investors coming in.
Yeah, it's hard to disagree with that. Honestly, like I don't. It sucks because like you can't like just tell people, oh yeah, you come into crypto, you're gonna make money. It's just that's really not the case. The average person is gonna get so wrecked. I mean, especially in the future, like Uniswap and stuff, people that's how they trade in the past, and when they try to come into the space again, when there's coins that are launching and things like like Shiba back in the day, like some of these coins in the previous cycle that launched, like they're not going to be able to buy ZK Sync at launch, and a lot of them are going to try, and a lot of try, they're going to get wrecked on things. But like, it's going to be interesting to see some of the price action, especially seeing how like this price action has been in the last like year to two, year now, and then especially the last like 4 months with the way that people are just absolutely have like abandoned their NFTs and moved over to a tokenized area, and it's almost like I think the reason NFTs were so easy for people to pick up on if you're a trader is you're not having to stare at, you're not having issues with charts and slippage and gas fees outside of having to just buy and sell off OpenSea or the marketplace that you're on, right? So it tells you the gas fee, you're good to go, you can buy that NFT. But when you're in like the coin side of things, like having all these different variables, if it's safe or not, like a lot of that, I think is why NFTs will have a hyper type of cycle, is because of just the easeability of becoming onboarded versus trying to get in this meme coin shit coin world, which they'll probably buy like a Shiba, a Doge, or a Pepe or whatever the case is when the cycle's ready. But when it comes to like the actual purchase of an NFT and making money off that, it's the experience. They're just gonna be like, yeah, I can just fucking buy this picture and then sit on this for like 10 days or a month, or oh wow, there's a community involved. That's so like I don't know. I think that's gonna be, and I think that's why that landscape for the average person previously, like a lot more people onboarded the NFTs so rapidly, so much quicker because there's not many hurdles, right?
So here is like the only thing that I see with NFTs is that if you launch an NFT collection, unless it's an open mint, then you can only onboard as many people into the NFT community as you have NFTs. So if you have a 10,000 collection, the most you can onboard is 10,000 people. Unless you then drop a second collection, and at that point, then you're inflating your supply, which will probably make the floor price for the first collection go down as people get out of that one, get into the second one. So yes, NFTs are easier to onboard because you don't have to look at price and slippage and those kind of variables. But there's also the problem of how many people you can onboard, depending on your collection size, and then depending on how many drops you do and the inflation that you bring into your community.
Yeah,
so
but I mean, like if
they're all
you
different
want your
factors.
price to go up, right? So you want, even with a limited collection, the price going up is caused by demand and a supply shock, right? So as you're focusing on like just a simple collection, like and creating utility around it, which was the whole idea, for all these collections before, there just has never been real utility available to them, like our technology at Metatope or even anything else out there. Like to now, it's getting to that point. I mean, people thought the metaverse was utility, but they didn't have a metaverse built out, nor did anybody care. So I think as you build ways for the infrastructure, it was never there. Like you can't get from city to city on an unpaved road, trees in the way and everything, because that's what everyone thought it was, and it wasn't. So it's like, there's many ways I think that having a limited collection, or even like hopefully derivatives, or having different type of accessories that potentially work on interoperability type of focus, will give people a reason to buy outside of just an avatar or their main piece of community.
And I think also, talking about the infrastructure and, the development of this industry, you're right, Enzo. The current infrastructure has been very limited and what it allowed for. But that would, I think that there's like some similarities between that argument and then saying, well, Bitcoin can never scale because there's only 21 million, right? But Bitcoin can be broken down to however many Satoshis, right? To like a million or whatever. And there's the same argument could lie within NFTs, right? You could have one NFT that people purchase access to, to have access to the community, to be able to take that, that digital asset into different environments. I think there's a lot of expansion that can happen in the ecosystem to allow for a more fluid experience and for projects to kind of open that up to a lot more users without necessarily having to have more assets.
Yeah, I think if you look at it that way, one of the things that I've seen a lot of play to earn projects do is you can rent out your asset to play in the game. So I have a asset and somebody else wants to play the game. I can rent out my asset. I can earn a portion of whatever it is they earned in the game goes to me and a portion goes to him. And that's one way to onboard even the people that don't own the asset, but they can rent it out. And I think that's one great thing to look at with NFTs that's happened is renting.
Yeah, kind of, man. I mean, I just try to go back to like Web2 gaming and like that. I don't see like a purpose personally, like when it comes to what I've ever played. Like I would have no, like a gaming studio would have, like they have their own characters in a way, but like Web3, I don't think that has to move into something more seamless and more like just something that the average person want to do to make like renting, in my opinion, be like viable. Because right now it's cool, right? Like it makes purpose for like a Web3 person, but really, if you're gonna get, it's like if I was to rent a car on Turo, like if I had a Lexus versus like a, something that like a wagon or something, it's different. Like I don't know how to say it properly, I guess, but what I'm just trying to say is like, I don't know, from my Web2 gaming experience, I don't see like personal use case for renting, and maybe I'm missing the point of it.
Well, I mean, I'll give you one example, Chris, right, where I see a lot of potential. So, take a professional athlete, take a Dr. Disrespect, take a Mr. Beast, right, whoever it is, and then relate them to having a NFT or a digital identity that they have personified and used across different marketing material and really just built a lot of awareness for, and then being able to rent that asset and bring it into your marketing material without actually having to take any time or resources away from the influencer themselves.
Oh yeah, okay, yeah. No, I understand what you're saying. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense. I was thinking of a different vertical. But anyway, yeah, let's. If anybody has anything they want to touch base on before we kind of get everything wrapped up here. Anybody have any outstanding articles or topics or anything missing?
I was just gonna add one thing, actually, just to mention what you were saying about new people coming to space, because I got to take off for this crypto event we're hosting in a minute. But yeah, it's going to be, unfortunately, I think, tragic when the next bull run comes around, because a lot of folks don't understand how to use DEXs, and they're going to be chasing the hype, how to get into these projects, and they're going to leave their slippage, unfortunately, set to automatic, and they're not going to understand what the hell bots are, and they're going to be front run to hell because it's set to automatic, when you go on there. But yeah, I think education is big in this space, but people are going to lose a lot of money when they hop in, try to get rich really quickly. But hopefully enough is actually to help people actually figure this stuff out down the line.
Yeah, maybe there'll be maybe Uniswap or one of those type of swaps will step up to the plate and provide a better experience for onboarding, like are basically easy to understand, like, hey, this is MEMBot, this is slippage, because like slippage has never really been like a newbie thing that they've ever like thought of getting in before. Like I never knew what slippage is before crypto, and once I understood it, I was like, wow, this is like the most important factor to like, it's almost like switching gears in a car, like depending on what speed you want to go. Like if you're moving at 40, you can just ride that at like a 6-speeder. If you really want to get going, you drop that in the second. You're moving quicker than everybody else. So it kind of seems the same way as trading these coins. So yeah, 100%, Mikey. I hope you have a good time at that conference, bro. And thanks for joining us today, dude. I hope you make some good contacts there.
Yeah, I appreciate you guys. Appreciate everyone for letting me to speak, and I look forward to talking to you guys later. I'm going to follow everyone who was on the panel too, but I'm not already. But yeah, y'all take care. Talk to you later.
See you later, bro. Yeah, go ahead and take us away with some positivity, Mr. Enzo Top G.
All right. So yesterday we had a lesson on conviction in my trading class. So I thought I'd kind of paraphrase the lesson over. So talking about trading or talking about anything in general in life, the one most important thing you have to do is have conviction in whatever it is that you are doing. You have to take into consideration all the factors. You have to do the research on what it is that you're doing. And even if people are telling you not to do a certain thing, if you have conviction that it's going to work, if you have back tested whatever it is long enough and you see a profitable strategy or something profitable in life due to back testing, then doesn't matter what anybody says, you should follow your heart, you should follow your conviction, and you should have the most amount of conviction in yourself, because nobody wakes up in the morning having conviction in you. You have to have that conviction within yourself. You have to know that what you're doing is the right thing for yourself. And that's how you take small steps over to success. And I want everybody in here to have a successful life, have a successful career within Web3. So do your research, do as much research as you possibly can in whatever it is that you're going into in any endeavor of life that you want to take. And good luck to everybody, man. I hope whatever it is that you want to do, you honestly succeed in.